Hi, hello. How are you? Good.
It's extra tight today.
I don't know why it's just so tight. But you get a new step mom out of this?
Yes, I do. She's nice. I like her.
That's fantastic.
My dad got married at 17. So
Hi, Commission.
Good morning, Victoria. If no one else will say it, I will.
Thanks.
Rough that you might do.
They were muted. so.
Hold your powder.
Well, that special counsel looks like a no
No,
nonsense
so
guy.
just
I
share
mean,
now.
you know,
The correct.
there's
answer-
nothing to find. So
Correct answer, when stuff happens that could be used to say, well, shit happens. Let's see how it goes.
16 crates of documents.
Yeah.
That's more than should happen, I think.
Just gotta keep your mouth shut.
weirdly anthropomorphic. I feel like I'm staring into the soul of like an owl.
Yeah, I know.
Which the owl, I like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And it's a wonderful design because it's so friendly. A
Yeah,
lot of
it is
people are
really
freaked
friendly.
out by
Yeah.
microphones and stuff like that.
Just stop sharing. Hey, you,
yes.
was I annoying chasing down to get signed onto the email or was I regular?
Just wanted to get it done.
Did you get it working?
I did.
You did.
Because Michael helped me, because still sent me the wrong way.
So
I've got.
Mine is not-
appointment with Vin.
mine is not working now. Since I got
You
it.
sent me the link you sent to Jan.
Is there a
Which is
difference?
also the wrong one.
No, it's right for her. It's wrong for me.
Hey, Commission, John Schobel, is John there?
Yeah,
No, not yet.
Okay, so on this agenda, the board actually approved the C of As for the first two at the last meeting, and John Schobel signed them at the meeting.
Where is that? 'Cause I didn't see
That's
you
the
see
question
today.
for John.
Okay.
It's hard to progress without seeing a CV.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, we can reapprove them if needed, but John should have them on his phone and should be able to send them to Jan.
Right, so Victoria, our recollection, my recollection is
Like
that, that
every
with
board member.
contingency on 43 North 6 with the approval of the porch.
Oh, they're
is
unique?
the
Yeah.
plan.
Yeah,
And then.
yeah, I have an appointment at 1:00
43
today.
North 6.
Vinny, is that
Come
his
back
name?
with a new
Because.
Kill Michigan.
Sorry, Jan, it's hard to hear with.
As the French
Oh,
always
hold on,
say.
yeah, wait.
Dan's trying to. talk to
So
Victoria.
Victoria, the two things, it was a sort of bifurcated application. It was 43 North 6. We gave the gentleman, the applicant approval with the porch, the rebuild of the porch.
Yep.
With the condition or contingency of adding back in the pediment.
Yep.
That was what we approved, and then that applicant is going to come back with a new application for the garage issue.
Yes, agreed.
Okay. And then, what was the other one you said, the,
739 Columbia, the board approved because of the gap between the December meeting and today. He signed the C of A. We did the C of A at that meeting so they could start removing the siding.
oh, okay, so I'll just need that, and then Okay.
But we
Yeah,
just
so-
need to confirm that John actually signed these things.
Correct. Okay, good, good, we're on the same page, good.
Here
Here
he
we
comes.
go.
Here's the man.
Hey.
Hi, gentlemen.
Sorry, I just came to the meeting, but were you just saying something about 739 Columbia?
Yes.
The entire agenda. Yeah. What we put on. Okay, good. We didn't forget you.
Michael, can you help me with my email too? Michael, can you help me with my email?
I had to pay $50. So you guys.
Fair, we're gonna pay 25, yeah. I see that new one.
It is 10:04, and we have a forum. Congratulations, everybody.
Oh, we have a quorum.
I know.
Bill, how are you feeling?
Wow, huh?
How are you feeling?
All things considered. Good.
Too much beach time, is that why you're a little scratchy?
Yeah, it's way too relaxed.
On the beach.
That's sand. and-
No, the beach time was excellent, but I had to come back and then drive directly to Maine for a lawsuit on some property up there. And that set me back a bit. No, it wasn't. It really wasn't. Hey, John, speaking of John, do you have some C's of A for us signed?
On your phone.
John, at the last meeting, remember you signed them electronically on your phone?
Yeah, didn't I send them to you?
I don't know. I don't, for whatever reason, I can't find them and Jan can't find them. Can you resend?
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Do we want to call the?
Yes, meeting's called to order. Welcome, everybody, on this fine day. First order of business. Let me ask everybody, just a housekeeping question. Who's got mail? Miranda not, right?
No.
Paul, no. Are you guys in touch with anybody at City
Yes.
Hall?
I am.
We're gonna talk to Michael after this. I'm in touch.
Well, this is sad.
I have them. Hold on.
All right, just checking in. Commission will review the draft minutes.
You have the C's of A, or you need me to give you the C's?
I found the front porch one. So that can
Okay,
come
so
on.
that's 43 North 6. And then.
The problem was, John, I don't have 739 back from you, but I have 43 North 6.
Can you mail to my Gmail address? Can you mail that?
Yep.
Yeah, and I'll sign it right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's sort
All
of
right.
like the concept of believing
Who's
like big
online?
things are gonna happen. I mean,
People,
look,
mute yourself.
kids who are insecure and don't have the confidence.
It's
So you
Christine
don't
Jones.
always think that, because you know
Christine,
why?
Could you mute, please?
What you
Thank
see.
you.
You are mute.
That's voluntary, involuntary mute is the best feature.
Excellent, well
We're
done.
good.
We also-
Commission will review the draft minutes from the meetings of the 9th and the 16th.
I make a motion.
I didn't see a lot of review.
Huh?
He doesn't even have email.
I just, Miranda, did I just not read the
Yes, he
minutes?
read every word. He's maybe the only one of us, but he did.
No, they're good.
May I have a
I'll
second?
finish my thought.
I-
May I have a second, please?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Therefore, they are approved. Thank you all. Jan, you're gonna steer us a little bit through the C of A votes. Do we have this right?
Okay, so for the first up is 43 North 6, which Victoria is going to be sending to us and has been approved.
Great, so it just requires a signature?
Yes, and the contingency, just to refresh everyone's memory, is it's the side porch that the gentleman is rebuilding, sort of a like for like. And our request, HPC request was with a pediment, to retain the pediment that we all like.
Have we received the contingency?
I don't have it, so Victoria's gonna send it to me. It was-
It was the contingency that the pediments not be removed, so the C of A has been issued with that condition.
I see, so it's conditioned, great.
Yep.
So that's done
That's
and
done.
out of the way. 739 Columbia, also done.
Also done. For the vinyl
Okay.
siding only removal, they will be back on the agenda to talk about whatever they uncovered later.
Got it, perfect.
Correct.
702, 704.
That
And
one we
was-
need to vote on.
That was the upper floor redo. She presented us 3 options and unanimously we preferred option 3, as did they, so we approved that.
Do we have any new C of A votes for?
You
today?
have a C of A on that one to vote on today.
702, 704.
Yep. I
Thank
sent it
you.
around, but I can post it if Jan, if I can share.
Yes, I'll stop sharing.
Okay. Let's see, where did it go?
Did you send that, Victoria, to us?
Yes, I sent it yesterday. I responded to Phil's email.
Cool. Thanks, Victoria.
I don't have the date of the application because we were having issues with the city email. But if you fill in the date, this is for an amendment to the proposed rear elevations, including second floor windows pursuant to the application that was reviewed.
Okay. Have a motion?
Motion.
You and a second, Paul. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
C of A's were approved. I'll fill in the date when I get a copy. Okay, C of A applications.
Okay, let's see, next up is,
We just got through. Who's here? Who's ready to speak? Let's start with 113.
113, that would be the Robert Jenkins house. Okay.
Terrific. Good morning.
Good morning, Donna Brown, I'm a DAR member representing the team. As you know, we got the National Park Service grant. And so these continuations, I'm here today with some members of my team online. Marilyn Kaplan is the architect for the work. And also online is Virginia Martin, who is our regent, and Gina Laporta, who is our treasurer.
It's too powerful group.
And I'm the ex-treasurer. So the continuation was questions about our plan, more detailed plans for the window replacement we're talking about for some of the upper story windows. The south elevation, some first level doors and putting storms on them. And questions about the chimney on the south end of the house, which we propose to take down. But I'm going to hand it over to Marilyn to talk to those.
Good morning, all. You can hear me?
Morning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure. If you want to grab the screen and show stuff, that's cool.
I'm sorry.
Would you like to project anything?
Maybe the materials we submitted to the city, because that has some photographs if we need them.
Okay.
Thank you, thank you. So we presented on December 9th. And I'm not sure that we made clear two items just to bring forward. One is this is a Save America's Treasures grant through the National Park Service. So we are deep in the midst of a long, kind of complicated process dealing with them as well. And in that regard, they use as a resource the State Historic Preservation Office. So we've come to the commission first, but those are the other, that's the funding source and some of the other reviews. If you can go back to the first page, that would be great. Thank you. So the first, and then we'll go right down a little bit. Excellent. So the window replacement, these are the 3 questions, and that's great. The 3 questions and 1 clarification that came out of the December 9th meeting. And on the east and the west elevations, we are proposing to replace the vinyl windows that had been installed previously. They didn't even fill the existing opening and to replace those with wood 6/6 windows, true divided lights. So the mullions will be thin as match the rest of the building. So the photographs that you've got show the windows on the west elevation, the replacement of one window, and then on the east elevation, those two windows. So I think that was intended to clarify that they indeed were later replacement windows meriting replacement. And the proposal is to put exterior storm windows, the allied invisible exterior storms. And those are what matches the rest of the building. So they're lower profile. We've got a panel, a storm panel, screen panel is the lower of the sash, and that can be removed from the interior. It's as I said, pretty low profile. The white will match the existing trim. And that is the situation with those three windows called for replacement. And included in the attachments to this are the woods, the spec as asked for, just a very simple 6/6 wood window that will be painted. Would you prefer that we go through these 4 items or take questions at each?
Do you have any pictures of the windows and the other items that we're going to be talking about?
Oh, yeah, those are the next pages down. Mhm.
Okay.
So there is our west elevation, the attic level window. And it's hard to get a photograph on the east elevation. That's photo number 4. And if you scroll down a bit more, you'll see the 2 vinyl sash that are in on the 3rd floor. So there they are. There.
Those were replaced at much earlier time.
So basically you're swapping out vinyl for wood and you're putting up some storms.
Yeah.
That's correct. That's correct.
So-
Okay. Shall we move to the dining room doors? Okay. So there was a theater demolished, and that's what we're seeing the vestiges of here. Those 2 doors on the south bay were interior doors. And so although there's a longer term plan, most likely to create handicapped access into the building on this south elevation, that's not part of our project now. It just appears to be, once we're ready to study it, the most logical place to come into the building. But short of that, would like to get a bit more thermal protection on these 2 doors. And we had originally called out for an aluminum fully glazed, but just an aluminum frame storm door, thinking it was the lowest profile. But instead, at the request of the commission, identified a wood stile and rail fully glazed door that will be painted that will fill these 2 openings. And these are on the south elevation. And if we go down to the attachments, I can show you what those are. There's our 6/6 wood window. And if we go to the next page down, the next attachment. No, I'm sorry, apologies. That's the allied. There we go. That's great. So just a basic wood storm panel door that we will paint out to match the trim. So anything else on the storm doors?
No, I think they're fine.
Great. Yeah, this is as you requested and just wanted the lowest profile one. And also didn't want to make a huge investment on those doors because they're really just for energy purposes right now. And long-term, we'll be back to you when we get to talk about that access. And if you could scan back up way to the first page. Victoria, are you doing the scanning up, the moving up and down, or whoever is? Thank you.
I am. Marilyn, it's me, Virginia.
Oh, thank you, Virginia. Okay, the third item is about the south chimney, and what we wanted to clarify is that very tall, unstable chimney is coming down. That again was part of the theater, and it will be removed to the roof line, just below the roof line, and it will be roofed over as part of the project. So Virginia, if you could kind of head down again, just to, thank you. One more down. There it is. Yeah, it's kind of extraordinary that chimney is still standing. There's a lot of spalled brick, and it's really tall and largely unsupported.
And I mean, if I could just jump in, I mean, that chimney is full of blown out bricks. I know when I go into that backyard, I get this wild.
So any more questions on the chimney? Okay, and just a clarification, we had talked about that before. I didn't think we went away with any questions on that, but we wanted to clarify it. And then Virginia, please back up to the front, to the top. And then the fourth item was just to clarify where we are going with the roofing material. We are all about new slate and full masonry restoration on the east and west parapets and the chimneys. And we're worried that the cost of the copper, the cost of the slate, the cost of high quality, the cost of getting high quality work done may impact our ability to proceed with slate all around the building as originally intended. And so possibly, if necessary, the first step of consideration, which is not what we're asking you about now, we're just kind of describing the process, would be to look at a cement-based faux shingle or rubberized faux shingle. I think visually I've used them on other projects and they're okay. They're not slate. My long-term concern with those is the difficulty. Long-term concern is how will they wear? How do they interact with the flashing? Can they be repaired like slate can? But again, the intent is slate all around, and that will be the base bed. That's how the project's been specified and how it was proposed to the National Park Service for the grant application. And that was, again, just for absolute clarification that everyone knew what was going to be approved.
But to be clear, that's not part of the current application.
That's correct. That's correct. We did ask, and I don't know if there's any commission members here who weren't at the 12/9 meeting, but we did ask if you all had any preferences for any faux slate materials, whether they be the cementitious, the cement-based, or the rubber. So that would be good to know, just should we need to take that path?
I don't think we do have a preference. I think it's a matter of how it looks and how it wears and the combination of those two things.
Okay. And we'll be concerned with exactly the same thing, and no doubt with the Park Service reviewers. Yeah.
Okay,
Sounds good.
motion by the application complete. Well,
So that's
we
for
requested.
1, 2, and 3, and
4 is just for our information.
Okay,
As of
fine.
now, the plan is slate. So you'll come back to us if you're
Yeah,
not
sure.
going to be using slate, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yes,
yeah, I make a
Sounds good.
motion.
complete. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
Miranda, second.
sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
Application is complete. Motion to approve the application as presented, request city attorney, Harris Eve, Jeremy and Hugh, first and second, in favor, aye. Approved.
Thank you.
Good job, guys. Thank
you.
you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, that's terrific. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you for restoring this building. Cool. 43 North Sixth Street Garage. Is there anyone here speaking for 43 North Sixth Street? I know that was a carryover from a previous discussion that didn't get addressed. They may not be ready.
That was the garage, the separate garage application.
Okay,
No.
He's probably not ready.
probably not ready. 739 Columbia Street.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, who's that?
Elise McMahon from 739 Columbia.
Hey, Elise, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Great.
I have my presentation I can just bring up.
Perfect, thank you.
Wonderful.
For some reason, let's see. Maybe I'll just click through. It doesn't seem to want to present. Can you see this okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Elise,
So-
would you mind sending this to Victoria and Bill and myself so that we can get it posted?
Yes, absolutely. So I'll just share it with you. What's your email?
Let's see.
Oh, at a later time.
Yeah, hpcclerk@cityofhudson.org.
Okay. Should I send it after this meeting?
Yes, that would be
Okay.
great.
Thank you. Okay, I'm just writing that down. So yeah, so let me just,
So
we've
just to
all,
refresh from memory, this was that you were going to look, Elise, at a new grouping of the second floor windows that are visible here. The idea of moving skylights from the west roof to the east roof. And you were given an approval to remove some vinyl siding, sort of as a discovery exercise.
yes, for the front facade, because we realized through the historic photos that there was not clapboard surrounding the windows, and that actually there were 3 windows that surrounded the door there. And so we wanted to emulate that further. And also this door that you can see has a larger glass window than the current door on the front of the commercial space there. So yeah, so we reworked the design of, this is the current state of the building. And as you can see, the clapboard surrounds the front facade there. And so this is our current proposed exterior, with also the awareness that the skylights are probably not going to be approved. So we actually have an option here of we could do it with or without skylights. I just wanted to share an image of flush skylights and explain a little bit further why we won't be doing skylights on the other side of the building, just because that space will have an attic space, so the skylight light won't actually come through. But if we included the skylights on this side of the building, that's actually above more of like a tall living room space, so the light would come through. But also I understand that most likely you all are not going to go for the skylights. I just wanted to share this as more of an explanation, because I didn't really verbally identify that in the last conversation. But we're open to either, and we probably just won't do the skylights on the other side because it won't add to the interior light. But as for the, I'll go back and kind of step through them. So here's our current renovation proposal exterior. So we've reworked the design of the top floor windows on the side here. And then we've also reworked the facade. And I have images at the end if we wanted to kind of compare the last proposal to this proposal. But basically, we lessened the amount of windows in the top floor as was suggested. And we turned, instead of having, previously we had proposed to have 3, 5, and 3 as the kind of organization of those top windows from left to right, and we lessened it to 2, 3, 2. And we kept the 2/2 structure of the windows. This is the close-up image of the front facade. And I was given permission to remove the siding on the front. After speaking to my contractor, he encouraged us to more look at the interior and also just pull off some of the layering from the front of the window to just see if we can see under it and see what is remaining of the original. And basically when on the right side here, I have images of from the inside, and basically the original window area is still remaining. It's just kind of in a very ad hoc way. It was just covered over with boards. So we have full intention of doing the removal of that. He just didn't want us to remove the full vinyl in the event that it would actually cause water damage over the winter, since we're approaching, the January, February, March months. But ultimately the proposal is to return it to that original point of having the wood trim, which is still existing from what we can tell from under the layers. So that alongside all the clapboard that is wood that is still existing on the building will all be basically reclaimed and fixed up and patched and repainted.
So
And
you're committing to the vinyl removal, right? But you want to do it very carefully because of the
Exactly.
weather. Okay.
Exactly. I think my contractor was just nervous if we don't get to fixing this winter, because there's kind of, so many steps to get to the outdoor. He preferred that we wait to do the full removal for spring.
Okay.
But yeah, that inner kind of area also really showed the kind of ad hoc nature of the patching over that was happening. And then we can see here that there's kind of many layers. Since this building was renovated all through like the 60s and 70s, it has a lot of fake materials that have been patchworked over. Does that make sense?
Does, yes.
Okay, thank you. And then also we kept the
The
kind of,
roof that's over those windows in that last picture you were showing, I'm just curious about it. It looks like that structure is pretty much intact. It's covered over by vinyl,
exactly.
but it's nice.
Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna keep that. And it was in the original building too.
Mhm.
And we're gonna go back to this kind of scallop shingle,
Right.
which will be fun. But as you can see here, there actually wasn't even a gabled roof on top of this building that was added later, like the attic was added later. So, but we'll be going back to this kind of original relationship to the clapboard and the trim. Are there any questions about this front facade?
No.
No, looks good.
Okay, great. We're excited. Thank you for pointing out. We ultimately feel like these meetings with you all have added to our design process. So thank you.
And I want to say how extraordinary and collaborative you have been. We appreciate it.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we really just want it to be the best it can be. So and I know that that's your goal with Hudson as well. So this is the side of the building. And again, we're very open to not doing the skylights. We just wanted to make one last kind of advocacy for what it would add to the inner building. And we actually, made the exterior windows smaller than we were originally hoping to make them, in agreement that like the side window design could have been more cohesive. So we're happy with this new arrangement, and we just wanted to discuss the skylights and if it's like 100% off limits in your mind. There was some mention in the last meeting when somebody asked, like, would it be a flush skylight design or would it be a extruded kind of skylight design? And you know, we love the idea of a flush mounted skylight. So have it be like as seamless as possible. But yeah, so we're open to not doing it. Just wanted to hear if that was the final word.
I wasn't in the skylight discussion. My understanding is that the commission requested if there were to be skylights, they'd be in the back of the building. My understanding from the applicant is that's not a hell of a lot of value add. What's the commission's feeling on skylights going?
Can I ask my question? Like, what's the, there's two images here. Is one below an alternative proposal to just have one skylight?
Oh, no, that has just a chimney,
Oh, that's a chimney on the skylight. Thank you, so.
So on
the existing chimney.
on the skylight.
My preference is with that.
Okay. Miranda.
Okay.
I think, I mean, since the gable roof itself is not part of the original building, I feel a little bit differently about it if the skylights are flush. I could live with them. I think it's probably better with that, but I think it's doable.
Can I ask a question? So on the renderings themselves, on these drawings, the skylights look very pronounced and they make the building look busy. And so I think if we were just to base it on these renderings, I would agree that there's should not be skylight. But how is it gonna look really as a matter of course? Like,
You mean because they're,
It's a line drawing, so.
there's just a lot going on. The skylight looks as prominent as that window. And
they're
it
gonna
just
be
feels
black,
like a lot.
there'll be black squares on the roof.
If it's like, if the roof is gonna read as sort of a solid surface, which it does not here, right? It's very positive and negative in the spacing and in this line drawing. But if it was gonna read as a solid surface, I don't think I'd have any problem with that. So I think that's the real question for us. I mean, what is it gonna look like, not from this drawing?
Well, we've all seen skylights on buildings, and half the time you don't even notice them. And with the new skylights, they're flush, I mean, they're like probably, they're not the 6 inches they used to be, they're like 1.5 inches. For me,
Are they gonna read it's dark? Are they gonna read it, like, how are they
the
gonna read?
roof will be, I assume, dark, so it'll
Mhm.
probably blend. I have no problem with it. Personally.
Guys, any further comments from you all on the mounting these skylights, the flushness of the skylights, how they interact with the side material? Defend your skylights a little bit. We just
Okay.
go with the door. Because
Okay.
I understand the value of having light.
Yeah, basically the design of the interior apartment is there will just be this open right side. If you can tell where the beams are on this bottom right area here. So there's kind of the living room, dining room area by the windows. And yeah, so we're just hoping to get as much light to come into the apartment because it is a quite small apartment. And this actually doesn't show the exact, the layout now is a little bit more even. But yeah, basically we just feel like the skylights won't have any impact on the other side of the apartment. So we would really love to have them bring more light in. And also let me just show you again the image from the front of the building. So when you're looking, and this is me from across the street, or I think this is actually from a Google kind of car image. So it is 8 feet up from the road, but when you're actually standing on the side of the building, you don't see the sky or the roof line as much. You can see it right there.
We have a comment from a meeting attendee.
I'd like the commission to finish discussion before we open that up.
I mean, I agree with John that if it visually is in the plain and doesn't feel disruptive, that I don't have an issue with it.
Based on the more recent installations that we've seen in Hudson and skylights, they are as you described, which is flush and relatively invisible. And for sure, in an old structure like that, the advantage of light coming down is not a small thing. It's a living advantage. I would support the skylights with the caveat that the applicant make best efforts to find the thinnest and least visible solution to the problem.
And that they blend with the color of the
And
roof.
the color of the
I think that's what's gonna matter.
You're right, John.
If the color of the roof and the matters, and the one that we showed, could you go back to the one that we was shown there?
Yes.
It looks almost like, it's a smoky glass. I mean, I think that might be the reflection, I can't say, but if it was just putting it in tonality as close to the shade that you choose for the roof would be great. That's all, but I don't think that's enforceable, either approve the skylights or reject.
Well, there's good faith. Do you guys agree with what John's saying?
Yes, I mean, are you planning on doing a dark gray shingle roof?
Then a dark gray skyline. It should disappear as much as possible. That's the whole conversation.
We absolutely agree.
Are you
Wow.
asking for the glass to be colored or just the framing of the window?
No, the window as is, and we're just asking that the roof shingle choice, the color choice is a dark gray to match up to the window as close
Got
as
it.
possible.
Jan, who do you have online?
I think, Walter,
Is commenting on this?
I think he commented.
Yes, hello. I just mentioned that Paris, the city of Paris, which is a historic artifact, is full of skylights. They enhance rather than detract from the livability of the city.
Okay. Ladies and gents of the commission, can we go ahead with a little voting?
Or we do-
No, well, the application, which include, in this case, I'm assuming we're including the skylights in the front. Motion to find the application complete. You and Jeremy all in favor, aye. Motion to ask the city attorney, prepare C of A for the application we're looking at now, which includes the skylights in front and the applicant's commitment to make them as unobtrusive as possible. You and Jeremy all in favor.
Aye.
Are there any opposed?
One name.
One.
1, 2, 3, 4. Carried.
Yeah.
John?
Yes.
Okay, it's carried. You're approved.
Amazing. Thank you.
It's a place of miracles.
Wow.
Thank you for great work.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate the work that you've done on all the other elements of the building too. I think it's be a huge improvement over how it looks.
For sure, it's been gorgeous.
Thank you.
Upward.
To make good big moves this year.
Okay, thank you very much.
Great. Have a great day. Thank you all so much.
Can we go forward to, if there's a sign, I'd love to get it out of the way.
There are 3 new applications.
What do you got, Jen?
The lowest one this side.
The 750 Union Street.
New sign? Let's get the sign out of the way. We have the
That
stuff
was
fixed.
the second sign, the gentleman came and presented one sign that was like for like, pretty much replacement, and then there was a new sign, and Craig was not prepared to approve that, so the guy's gonna come back.
Did he agree to 2 signs?
Did
Craig, yeah.
He did not. I think he asked the guy to speak with him after the meeting.
Is anyone here from 750?
Hey, Phil,
Yeah.
this is Craig. I am signed on. I have not heard back from 750 Union, so right now it's only one sign.
All right, off the agenda.
Thank you.
201 and a half.
And also-
Yeah. Sorry.
Also, you should have had an app. I believe it was on last month's agenda. It was signed from Matt Signs, 558 Warren Street. I'm unsure if that was one of the ones I got lost in limbo with the whole computer thing. If you don't, Sarah from Matt Signs is signed on and she's able to share everything with you.
Is that, if that was a physical item, right? That's fine. Sarah, go ahead.
It was a sign for. There, she'll go over with you.
Hi, Phil.
Yeah, Sarah, could you share the screen and show us what you're doing?
Yes, I can. Just give me one moment, please. Okay, can you see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So this is going to be a 4 foot by 2 foot double-sided MDO wood sign for proprietors, handmade and vintage. It's going to be a hanging sign and there is an existing straight bracket there. They are going to be changing that bracket to a scroll bracket instead.
Okay.
Yeah, I vote to approve that.
Yes.
Good.
Motion by the application complete. Hugh, Jeremy, all in favor, aye. Motion to ask the city attorney if they receive that. And everybody done. Good job, Sarah.
Perfect. Thank you so much, you guys. Have a good day.
Good. Thanks, Craig. Thanks for bringing that up. 201.5 Allen. Oh, anything you want?
You know, I should have done the online option, probably for you guys to see, right? So a couple of months ago, this is for a backyard design. A couple of months ago, I was here and we just approved, I think just to the exterior of the building. You'll remember we did the front and the back and the spiral stairs now in. They're waiting to do this part until spring. So. About what the backyard looks like now. This is a picture standing on that upper balcony, looking down over the backyard. It's a really challenging site. It's 17 feet wide, 120 feet long, and it drops off about 2 stories. So it's quite challenging. So standing, what we're looking at back here is Deer Alley. And this is the Wick. You can sort of see the Wick, the back of the Wick Hotel. And there's a little walkway that comes up and it brings you right out onto 2nd Street and Allen. So is everyone oriented? So the only backyard part that's in the historic district is just this little corner. And it's probably, because you can kind of see it, from as you come up that walkway. So what's there now? So here's the house. There's a planting bed here and there's a 2-level patio and it goes down to, it's very hard, you can't really see the deck in this picture. It's behind a bunch of ill-placed, in my opinion, forsythia. But this is looking at the house from Deer Alley looking up. And so you can see this deck and it's, structurally unsound. And there's about, there's about 10 feet from the property line. It's just kind of weedy and so that and there are some stone steps, which if it's, weeded out are so bad to kind of get you up to the deck and then another place, so it's all climbing up. So the owner really wanted a pool. Bit of a challenge on the site. So we looked at, these are just this was just kind of an idea, vision board. And these are some materials from the main house that you've seen before. So we'll go back to the design. So, so this is the new backyard plan. The upper and the lower patio are more or less going to stay as they were. It's all bluestone, right? We're going to, the stair here just needs to be reduced, it just needs to be replaced in kind. The planting bed will be somewhat enlarged so she can get more plants in. So we'd like to do a set of stairs down to a new deck with the pool here, with a tree, right? And this will all be railing. And then rather than stone steps down, we'll do, regular decking steps down because it's very tight, right, to be able to get it down. So I just want to, so you can see how we're dropping off, as you go all the way down to the site section. I think this picture might show it a little bit better. The 2 deck levels, this is where the tree will be. A small deck here with the pool and then steps down and fencing on the property.
Some backyard.
Yeah.
That's not a little project.
It's not, Taconic Engineering is working out all the retaining walls.
How large is the pool? It's hard
Oh,
to.
it's little, it's 7 by 12.
Okay.
It's really, it's a little bigger than a hot tub, but it's the plunge pool.
Sure.
So, yeah.
So looking up
What was that
from
called?
Deer Alley, what you'll
Something.
see is the side of the pool, really.
Yeah, what
You're
you'll
looking-
see, so there'll be
The
the fence,
fence.
if you see the fence, the stairs going up, and then this surrounding the pool, and the pool.
Before you change it, could you just tell me, what's that sort of? What's below the deck next? Is that just a?
Oh, underneath here?
Is that ground that we're looking at?
No, that'll be lattice, that'll be a lattice. Here underneath the deck, we've got pool equipment and that needs to go there, and it's, I'll take it back to this picture so you get a sense.
Yeah, Craig, you're live. Okay, keep on going.
I want to show you something else. There's an existing, it's those blocks that are kind of made to look like stone, right? It's a wall that divides. So these are mirror images of each other. This building has, so the neighbor, so right along this property line, there's this wall right here. You can see it right here. And that's it right there. That's gonna get extended. So right now, it ends there, and it will get extended.
And that's made of cast concrete
Yeah.
that looks like stones.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, to me, the issue is what you can see looking up from Deer Alley, because this angle, shows off all the components of the design, but no one will see that perspective on it.
A lot of industrial massing you'd see from kind of looking up. It's going to be just blocks. I don't know if you can break that up with, I don't know, some vegetation.
Well, there certainly will be planting. We did put it through a curve in there, but it is, yes, it's very rectilinear because it's sort of hard to get a lot of, you know what I mean? And which is unfortunate because I think that makes landscaping really work, to have, the numbers and curves. Yeah. Well, what I think you're gonna see it is when you're coming up this walkway. Because that has been a concern of the owner, are they gonna be like on display when they're in the pool, what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's that side view. And my understanding is they're gonna be redoing this. Do you know anything about that? That the city's gonna
Supposed to be a big part of the.
Oh, the Second Street stairs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be redoing a lot of stuff, including that,
Okay,
but I haven't seen a lot of implementation.
it's a nice little connector,
But the answer is yes, that must be redone.
Yeah, so anyway, that's where I think you're gonna kind of see, and so, part of the reason we're extending the wall, and then. This will be a tree here, because she's concerned about privacy.
We could plant some vines or something like that.
Right, that's the other thing, I don't wanna make it so closed in that you feel, right? But the idea was that we would, have some growings that would come up on the side there, and then, maybe would die back in the, in the fall. And I'm an architect, I'm not a landscape architect, so we really tried to get, It's the big firm over here, but it was like too small a project for them, you know, we'll talk about, right, Tyler, and, yeah, anyway. So anyway, I'm doing my best, and kind of engineering is working out all the, you know, the walls, so that'll, but yes, I think something along here, you know, or maybe, you know, maybe even if it was more like an arborvitae or something like that, but that really becomes on the neighbor's property. So whereas, you know, pine, you could just do it right on there. So, you know, if the neighbors knew. And I would imagine Hudson's probably the only place in Columbia County where you can go arborvitae, because you have some deer, right? But yeah, you deer.
Not so much. I have a whole row of them on the Prison Alley side,
Oh, do you? Uh-huh.
and they're remarkably sturdy devils.
Oh, good.
They look skinny and weak. They're not so weak.
But it's a nice green fence,
It is.
you know.
It works very well.
Yeah. Oh, and on the subject of fence, so this is an existing privacy fence, and it'll get extended as much as we need, but you know, the rule is with a pool that you've got to have that 4-foot fence, you know, to protect it, but you're up, it's at some point you're up so high, you know, already the top of the pool here is like 8 feet, you know, above, so anyway.
I'm gonna throw something out. I mean, on the one hand, it's a backyard, and so we're not protecting existing architecture. On the other hand, this is going to be really visible. And I wonder if it doesn't merit a public hearing. I think of what we did on is it Roswell? Like what was Rossman? When we had a public hearing for that pretty extensive change to that backyard. And given how prominent this is, maybe even though it's small, tight and small, I get it, it's a lot though. And it is gonna resonate. So maybe we should have a public hearing. That would be my thinking.
Folks, agree, disagree, or further discussion?
I mean, regarding what I've seen, I like it.
I do too.
Yeah.
I don't know, if we need- personally, I don't know if we need a public hearing on this. It's a backyard that is going to be, for the most part, not not viewable, not visible, so that's my take. But
Jeremy, thoughts?
I could go either way on the public hearing, to be honest, but because it is a backyard and it's not an existing structure, I'm leaning more in his direction.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm kind of inclined to go that way too. I mean, I think it's not destroying any historic
Right.
details or building structures that pretend to be historic or anything like that.
Okay. So let's try it in terms of, are you folks ready to do a bit of voting in terms of votes? And we can vote first round. We would include waiving a public hearing and see if that gets through. Motion to find the application complete. Paul, Miranda, in favor? Aye. Motion to request the city attorney to prepare a certificate of appropriateness and waive a public hearing. All in favor? Carried. Understand?
Good.
We got 5 up, 1 down. You're done.
Okay, thanks very much.
Have a great project. This is gonna be amazing.
All right, thank you. Did I focus?
we'll get to this one.
402 Warren Street.
We'll take care of it. Don't worry.
Yes, okay. Thanks so much. Anybody here speaking for 402 Warren?
That would be me. Good morning.
Walter, could that be you?
Yes, hi. Can everyone hear me?
I want to share a little known fact with the commission that they're probably not going to be very interested in, which is that Walter and I have the same birthday.
I would think people would just immediately gravitate to that and realize that's why we have such an affinity for one another, Phil.
They probably have their own thoughts.
I didn't say they had an affinity. I was speaking of our mutual affinity.
Oh, gosh, my God, yes.
Anyway, are you ready to jump into this?
Yeah.
I have 2 possible presentations. I have my old presentation and my new presentation. So I can either go back and look at what we had looked at a while ago to refresh everyone's memory, or I can jump right into this morning's updated presentation, whichever you'd like.
I have a question for the commission and for Walter. What are we looking to get out of today? Because it looks from the notes that there's going to be another meeting with a public hearing. So this is quote unquote, correct,
For the public hearing.
for the public hearing. Okay.
I think
got
what
it.
it was we offered Walter to go straight to a public hearing and have one more session with us to refine his plans before going before. the-
And he made a masochistic choice. All right. Walter, you're on.
Okay, great. All right, so it doesn't sound like we need to go back over old territory. We can do that at the public hearing. My recollection and notes were that the major issue that had come up, can everyone see my screen?
Yeah, yeah.
Is this roof here? Paul, questioned quite understandably, what this had to do with the little building that's there now. As you recall, there was also an issue that there were originally 3 members of that little row of houses. So what we came back with, what we're proposing, we're still asking for permission to do this roof here because we think it's the most appropriate, least intrusive way to do it. But based on the conversation that we had last week, we've refined the concept, and we hope that this will now, have evolved to the point where it's a solution that you all can accept and we can move forward. So very quickly, the existing roof line that we have to work with is this line right here. And you'll recall originally we were going to do a mansard, which would basically remove this, create a blank end wall condition here, and then have a roof that will appear, hopefully as this does, pretty much, out of the picture plane because of parallax. So in looking around Hudson, which I always try and do these days when I'm trying to solve these problems, we found this roof here, which everyone on the Historic Commission probably knows. It's behind a house on the courthouse square. And this, I'm guessing, was built with this addition, but it strikes me that this roof is particularly successful at kind of allowing you to read the building 2 ways, as a 2-story brick building and as a 3-story building with a mansard. So what we've done, and I hope you can see this here, is we've put this element back in. And we've also cut the roof back in a way that now cuts back away from the existing chimney. So we've got I think, a very different condition.
Can you enlarge that photograph, Walter, the one that of your
Yes,
upper left?
yes. I've learned to move very slowly and then things work. Does that work for you?
Yeah, that's great, thank you.
So this actually, we could even improve on a little bit because this mansard line is out beyond the wall line. We could push back. And if you imagine that's that existing trim on the end of our building, and for a second argue that that would be the chimney, it cuts back in a way that we think would allow it to read both ways, as I say. And then just moving along. This is, again, trying to express it in a more formal elevation, one closer to what we're hoping to build. Here it is added on the south side. Now, this doesn't exist at the moment because you all will recall there was another building here. But, we think that putting this back on the south side and treating the roof this way on all sides is probably the closest we can come to getting that, to read. And then again, here is what you would see on the end. It actually is the actual existing elevation now with that existing trim. There's the chimney above, which in all honesty, we would like to extend a foot or 2. And this is that mansard sort of cutting away. And then we've left this gambrel here inside the alley because I think we can segue from this into this very nicely and make a very, very clear distinction. And I'll say very quickly, even though that's kind of a broad, flat surface, that will always be seen up the alley in parallax. So it will always compress spatially as a much narrower facade. And then just moving around the building to remind you, that's what the rest of that roof looks like. Now, here are the 3D drawings, which I think are very helpful. This kind of allows you to see what I'm talking about. This existing roof more or less would be brought out here, and then we're putting a cap on top of it that would start at the wall line. So unlike the picture that I showed, this would actually be back about 10 inches to a foot and also have a greater incline. So this is all to say that we think it's going to start to disappear in the picture plane. Okay, I'm being long-winded. I'll try and hurry up. That is what you see today, minus the brackets, which aren't there now. So we're saying that we would be able to put a roof on top of that, leave that fabric intact, take it around so that it returns into the new building. So again, I think this is probably a good image to end my statements on, because to me, this is working at the number of levels it needs to be successful in Hudson. I think the old building is reading clearly, and the roof addition, in our opinion, if we choose the right materials and it's done properly, will just almost dematerialize. So I think that's all I have to say.
Can you go back to the front facing view with the 3 buildings, please? Thank you.
And Walter, the tower on the right-hand building is actually behind this.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, that is actually not the best drawing rendition, but that is the tower on the building up the street. So that obviously is meant
Not
to.
even part of this block of buildings.
Not-
Oh, I know which building it is.
It's
yeah.
it's in the block. It's just the next building behind. So we put it in really to kind of say, you know, we're not dominating this block. We're trying to kind of fit in. But yeah, you could put your thumb over it and imagine, you know, just our composition.
I was not at the last meeting, so the mansard roof in the central building, did you talk about that at length?
I think the sense of the commission was, well, first of all, we haven't heard from the public.
Right.
So the sense of the commission was that was so passable, I mean, tolerable.
Acceptable,
Right,
yeah.
acceptable.
It sort of mimics, you know, the mansard roofs of the two houses, and I think that's where the elevator shaft is going.
Right, it's the elevator overrides, and we have 2, so it's just the most artistic way we thought to disguise that, so it doesn't look like 2 elevator shafts sticking up.
I mean, I'm gonna say what I think, which is really that, you know, the mansard roof, that new building there seems fine, right? Like it is, but the amount of change wrought on that little streetscape is a lot. And so it seems to me that there's obviously a tension. Like, I think that those 2 row houses at the end should, as I said last time, should remain intact as much as possible. But Walter, I suspect you're trying to make a hotel here and you want that 3rd floor, because those are 2 real tensions, right?
Correct.
And, you know, I still feel that way, although I would thank you. I do think this is improved from last time. And if you were making a new building, I think it's a lovely little building that we've made. The problem is, you know, what is lost. So.
I think continuing, emphasizing the horizontals on the roof lines helps a lot to maintain the history of the architecture in there. I was thinking about this a lot over the holidays. I drove cross country almost all the way and back.
Wow.
And we spent some time in Virginia, and I was noticing there that this is a kind of a common solution if you want to add to a small row house, to put a mansard roof structure on the top that that stands back from the roof line, so you still got a profile of the original building, but
I
there's
think it's a sense of
something
the
added
original.
on the top, and of course, it's all over the place in Paris, if we're gonna talk about Paris. So I feel like it's kind of an elegant solution to that, but I understand what John's saying too. These are really old and beautiful row houses, and you are changing their profile.
So if I could just speak to that, because I think we're all on the same page, and I certainly would be disingenuous if I didn't say that I personally would also prefer not to put a roof on this. But, you know, to justify the capital investment that it takes to restore these buildings, the owners tried to go through SHPO originally on this, and you know, do a full interior and exterior historic thing. And, you know, let me just say that these buildings were not elegant row houses. They were very nicely facaded tenements that had stairs that were less than 18 inches in one instance inside. And the space that was available to live in, which is those little attic windows that we're preserving, was not tall enough to stand up in. You took a ladder up there and you had your mattress or whatever. So, you know, part of what we struggle here, and it's hard to talk about in a rational way, is the scale of many buildings in Hudson is a little crazy. This drawing looks like these are two elegant, and they are townhouses, but they're mini elegant townhouses. So really, in order to make this building even economically work, somebody's got to add on to it. And that's just the way it is. You know, we could do it all glass. We could, you know, go modern. We could, you know, try all kinds of different material. What we're left with, I think, is the need to, as Miranda put it, find a traditional way to add on to a historic building, so as little as possible is lost.
Commissioners?
I would say I think this is ready for a public hearing, since we're going there.
What do you all want to do? You want to do it, if we get the paperwork out in 2 weeks from today?
Sure.
Is that the plan? Walter, you okay with that?
Yeah, that sounds great.
I think we need more input, I really do.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, we need the public's input on the new construction also.
Yeah.
So
Not
we're 13, so it would be the 27th.
Works for me.
Okay. I'll get the paperwork out.
And I should mention my collaborator, Matthew, is on from LMV Architects. So Matthew, I assume that's okay with you also?
Yes, that's good. Thank you. And thank you for your comments.
Well, thank you, guys. Okay. Jan, what else we got to cover?
Next up is 555 State. I know last meeting was a no-show. Do we have anyone from 555 State Street?
This is Craig. 555 State had asked to be on the February agenda. That's why I didn't send it over to you.
Thank you. And then next up is, I think that might be it. We had 750 Union, which we've already discussed. Yeah.
Okay. Craig, anybody else with comments or concerns, or have we finished most of what we needed to do?
Not that I'm aware of.
Super.
I think we're finally getting caught up to the whole computer email thing. So hopefully, you know, moving forward, this will be a lot more as standard and easier.
Okay. Victoria, you still on?
Yes, I'm here.
A question for you. We finished our major business and can adjourn this meeting. I do want to go into executive
Chairman,
session.
I'm sorry to
Yes.
butt in here.
Who's speaking?
Ronald Kopnicki on behalf of Matt McGee. I've raised my hand and Matt would like to ask a few questions and say
Sure.
things, if it's all right with you before you adjourn.
Sure.
Hello, yes, last evening I sent emails to all of you. And now I understand that you probably did not receive it. Is that
No.
true?
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
didn't get them.
Okay, is there any suggestion as to what to do in lieu of that?
We're gonna get our emails.
Correct.
Those of us who don't have our email back are gonna get them this
This
week.
week.
Okay.
Did anyone
So I
got
should
it?
try again later.
Did anyone receive it?
And I have email,
I have email too, and I did not receive.
and I didn't receive it.
I didn't
Oh,
receive it
'Cause
either.
we sent it to all of the members
At the city
at
address.
the
email
city address, email.
I don't doubt it. I mean, there's still
Oh, no,
recovering from
I-
server crash, so.
Okay, well, in any case, I would like to say just one thing in advance about these buildings. I've studied them rather closely and taken extensive photographs. And I have to say that 402 Warren and the little row houses were clearly constructed as a unit. And they were very expensively built. They have marble. They had an incredible stoop, which is almost 8 or 9 inches thick, which has been broken away on the small houses. And the commercial front there was very much the same as the front on the building on the corner of 3rd and Warren, with that very severe thing with the plain pillars, stone and lintel. And also there's a feature on the building at the roof line where the frieze with the little windows, and on the larger building, the frieze is indicated with brickwork. It's not actually wood. And this is a feature also in common with the house on 30, the building at 30 and Warren. Also looking at the building which was built by A.J. Davis on Union and 7th Street. It has similar features. It has, the frieze is brickwork, not wood. The front door there is like almost identical to the front doors of these small houses. I think this is underestimated as to what this building is. It was built by a very fine architect, and I think one of the finest of the period. And I believe that person was A.J. Davis.
It's very difficult to.
And I think that you should really examine and look more thoroughly at what's there. Thank you, and I appreciate your time.
Thanks very much, and this will come up again, and certainly you'll have further opportunity to address your comments at the public hearing in 2 weeks.
And I would like, it would be great to get that email, so if we can't get it.
It looks like
Have
we lost them. Oh, never mind, he's there. He just moved on my screen. Sorry.
Like he said, he would follow up.
Yeah, we'd love to see that email, and then we can absorb it before the hearing.
Okay, we'll try again.
We'll figure out a way to get it.
What Ronald and Matt, I mean, you could drop off a hard copy with the city clerk, and then everyone could get a hard copy. And
Well, we'll
ask her to
see.
disseminate it,
Okay, well, I'll try to work out what I can do.
or send it to Jan Egan on
Okay,
behalf of the board.
And that would be hpcclerk@cityofhudson.org.
okay, HPC clerk at cityofhudson.org.
Lowercase, all one word,
Okay.
hpcclerk@cityofhudson.org.
Okay, thanks very much.
Good. Thank you, guys.
So
Victoria,
Phil, if I was hearing your question right, you wanted to go in executive session, so
That's correct.
you don't close the meeting if you want to do that. The meeting stays open. And we would have to have a valid purpose for going into an executive session?
Personnel matter.
Personnel? Okay. Is there can you give I mean, that's fine. Is it a board member or someone hired by the board?
Remember.
Okay. So you'd like to make a motion to go into an executive session to discuss a personnel matter?
I would like to make that motion.
I'll second that.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye. So I just want to shut down public communications now.
Okay.
So we'd have to take everyone, Jan would have to put everyone in the Zoom into another room, and then the public would have to leave the chamber.
Okay, so may I ask that I can't do that, Victoria, so may I ask that the public,
You can kick them out.
can you guys, yeah.
You can kick them out if you go to the three dots.
Yeah, you're the host, Jan, so you should be able to move them back into the waiting room.
That's the top right corner, free room.
Okay,
Don't do Victoria. then.
okay.
There. You can see,
Remove.
remove,
Okay.
I just confirm remove.
Don't. Oh dear. Missy's been banned.
I'll see you in a little bit. I'll tell her to take it first.
Don't work camera.
Where do I,
Remove.
yes,
Don't.
okay.
Okay, looks like it's just us.
There's no one else in here.
Is the meeting over? This is
Well,
Craig, you want me to, what's,
No, Craig, I just have to go into executive session, talk about a board member. So.
all right,
you're
so you don't
welcome to
need me,
stay.
right?
We do not need you, and thank you so much for today.
Sure, I'll hang out, sure.
So if it's just the chickens, I think you all know that Chip has wanted to step down for a while. He's taken on just a ton of stuff with his new house and some other work that he wants to do. I was attempted to deflect, deny, and ignore.
Terrible, I didn't know.
Pretending that the issue would go away. But pretending that something will go away doesn't mean it goes away. And I owe him the courtesy of following up and respecting his interest. I asked him who he thought would work well with us. And his recommendation was interesting because he proposed somebody who's more really on the more modernistic, not so much a restoration. He proposed a younger person, a woman who he thought, based on her presentations, was exceptionally smart and accurate in her understanding of architecture. You all have seen her present to us a number of times. She works for Space Smith, and her name is Kim Wood. I talked to Kim 3 or 4 times and looked at her stuff. And I've also talked to, how many of you all know any Yiddish at all? There's a term called Altercocker. It means old shitter. I also talked to a number of Altercockers to round out the pool and continue to believe that Kim was the best candidate. It's not our call. It is the mayor's prerogative, 100%. But I've got her CV, and Kamal's been very supportive on everything I've ever asked.
Wait, so Phil,
Yeah,
Just a few things. It would, I mean, because Space Smith comes before this board very often, you'd have to be prepared for recusals every time they come.
understood. And I talked to the boss, I talked to Jane. And it's understood by everybody.
And she's not a member of, she just works for them, right? She's not a partner.
She's an employee.
Okay, great.
That's my story for example.
I mean, I would say, could we interview, this is such an important position.
We can't literally interview her, I don't think. It's up to the mayor to interview her.
Right, but we give a recommendation, right? Like
I would say about half the time on board members, we actually don't. Somebody comes through the mayor's office through other channels. It's not obligatory. I'm hesitant to put her through another process. I've looked at a lot of people and vetted a lot of people. I've been doing this a while. And we've had architects before, none of whom could walk in Chip's shoes sideways or even straight up. But I know she's not Chip. She's a different take on the deal, but she's pretty brilliant.
So the new commission, I'm looking at the code. It says new commission members shall be appointed by the mayor after consideration of recommendations put forward by the existing commission. So, I mean, if you want to interview her, I would say it's within the commission's authority to do that because you are entitled to make a recommendation to the mayor.
We did interview for the last position also. Jeremy had to interview and we had another candidate also for that role. I mean, and I'm a big fan of Space Smith and Kim also. But my one, and I have no hesitation, that's all I'll say. I do think that Kate Johns was an historic preservation architect. Chip seems almost bilingual in his fluency between modern, having worked on case study houses and an incredible sensitivity to historic. I just, that would be the source of my question for Kim. How would we know what Jane Smith built?
I think that there's no question looking at the files that she's got a spike for sure on, at least recently, on more modern work. And she asked me what I thought the role was. Chip was pretty extraordinary in my years on this thing, in terms of the degree to which he took a lead on not just explaining, but framing and participating in solutions. We never had an activist to the same extent who scoped out solutions. And Kim asked me what the most important thing I thought. And I said, look, I get that you're not going to match up to Chip on preservation architecture. There's stuff you may have to learn or try to understand. But to me, the main job is to fully and completely understand what the applicant is presenting and to completely and fully articulate to the commission what it is that we're presenting, what we're looking at, what the implications are, so that our conversation, whether it's historical or not, is as informed as possible. And she said, I absolutely can do that, and I'll pick up the other stuff. That's my story. If you all want to talk to her, she's obviously interested. Very interested. She's been writing to me for the last. It's not that easy, John. Some people want to do this. And good people. I'm not disagreeing with you. It's like arguing against public hearings. I fail all the time. There's no way you can make a God-given argument against more discussion and more evaluation. I'm telling you, I betted the girl.
If I missed the discussion, because I did not know that Chip was was seeking to resign. I know
He never spoke it publicly.
Okay,
I
so,
brought it up only this way because we're reaching the line.
yeah, I get it. I'm sorry. If I'd known, then it would have perhaps prompted me to think about others. I can think of one right.
He didn't
away.
ask me to share it.
Okay. So I just thought perhaps it was my miss, but I
No.
don't think that, here's the thing, I understand your description of their role. To understand the project in its entirety and the impacts that will have on the town. I would actually argue that's our role. Their role is technical. I think back to, I think back to every time we turn to the architect, whether it was Kate or Chip. It's always something about whether there's an historical element that's appropriate. Somebody who's actually touched restored windows. Kate and John had a passion for brickwork and ensuring that the right mortar was used. Because some of the things we're dealing with are historical buildings. It's not just historical buildings.
John,
but
I
they're-
think I get that. I know
So I
they're
think I'm
historical.
only gonna make the point that that would be the reason, not that I don't think Kim would be great. It's just, it would be worth a fulsome conversation with her.
Okay. Help me figure out how to tee that up and I'll talk to you.
So you can do an interview. You would call a special meeting. And then you'd go directly into an executive session if you wanted to do a private interview, or you would do it out in the public.
Be private.
Private, and does it have to be at a meeting? We couldn't arrange a Zoom in between now and the next meeting, could we?
I mean, it has to, unless it's 3 members of the board doing an interview and then another 3 doing it separately. Anytime there's a quorum of the board talking about board business, you have to do it at a meeting.
We could nominate a subcommittee of 3 of us.
I
Could
personally,
do that.
Defer to Phil's opinion on it.
Well, then you and Phil have already aligned, maybe some.
And I just would say, only from my experience with her and how she presents herself, I would agree. I mean, to me, she's almost already sort of auditioned or interviewed, I think. But, I can certainly understand. Yeah, I think if people want to meet with her and chat with her, I think it's there, but I could.
But now you already have a view towards somebody else.
I don't have a view for someone else. I can think of someone who leapt into my head, but.
No, let's put together the threesome. I want to be balanced though. I'm not gonna put her in a situation of firing squad.
I think 3 people can, first of all, I think she's great, as I opened with, right?
She is a
There'd be
good
no
part.
reason- There'd be no reason that this is simply to test whether to do our diligence, it's a very big decision. And
Understand that the mayor can deny and, well.
It sounds like that's not highly likely though.
It's highly unlikely. Small never does that. He really doesn't.
Are there any other thoughts?
I think there's value in having a conversation with her. I don't
Alright,
even
you
know if
participate?
it's, I would love to.
Okay.
I don't even.
So John, and Jeremy.
And we'll find a time and
I'll
not a
figure-
firing squad, and it's
Yeah.
not even an interview, it's a conversation.
I'll figure out a way to tee that up and we'll set up a Zoom link.
And then we'll, just be probably supporting the application to them.
Okay. Well done. Thank
Is
you.
she
guys.
local?
Huh?
She's local, so that's great.
Sorry, I do have to run.
All right, thank you.
The architect is not obligated to live in Hudson.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's the only position.
Oh, if that's the case, I know tons about it.
Well, it is good to have them,
Yeah.
right?
All right, shall we vote to close executive session?
Yes.
So you go
Okay.
back into the. Yes, go back into the regular meeting.
We're back in the closed executive session, and we're back in the regular session.
Is there anyone in the waiting room?
No,
Okay, so then you'd make a motion to come out of executive session.
make a motion to.
Make a motion to come out.
adjourn the meeting.
Let's adjourn.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, thank you.
Hope your voice gets better, though.
We have to.
Why?
Sounds like it hurts.
The very whiteness of it.
Jane, can you end this meeting?
I think it makes me more interested.
I don't know how you could
On
possibly
Boulder.
be any more interested.
Yeah, I can think of a number of ways. Ask Paula.